Good evening, and a happy good evening to you, wherever you are. This is the Clara Luper radio show, and today's show is being brought to you by Rainbow, and Rainbow is good bread. It was a long parade. The crowd started gathering at the office of Senator E. Melvin Porter at 10 a.m. They came from every direction. They came in every kind of automobile and truck. They came. It was a parade that was led by the senator himself, riding in an automobile that had been furnished by Bishop Ponder, wearing a yellow shirt and white pants. He sat, he waved, he yelled. E. Melvin Porter yelled down 23rd Street, pushed by pioneers, young ones, middle-aged, and older ones. In the crowd could be seen people. Some had never participated in a parade before, but they marched, they rode, they waved. They yelled out to the crowd to remember Senator E. Melvin Porter. There were some that were in front of the parade passing out materials. One lady looked and she said, "Oh, I waited to get something about Senator E. Melvin Porter." The crowd moved slowly to the state capitol steps. It was on the south side of the state capitol steps that a crowd gathered to listen, to learn, to receive new information and new inspiration in order that they could go home to their precincts, home to carry the message that Senator Porter must be reelected. It was a happy crowd. It was a crowd to fill with smiles and fill with aspirations. As I looked over the crowd, I recognized people of bygone years. I recognized people that had been on the battlefield a long time, and then I'd recognized some young ones, and a group of young children was yelling, "We can't vote, but you can vote for our senator." It was Oklahoma City in its greatest hour, an hour in which they looked at their senator. As the crowd moved toward the Capitol, there were various members that came to tell the news. There were those in the audience that stated that we have come to the Capitol because Senator Porter has been here for 22 years, and we are going to see to it that he is here for the next 4 years. The crowd went wild after speaker spoke. And some of those speakers are going to be calling me on here, KBYE, and I wanted so much you to share in that moment. Among some of the people that I saw in the crowd, I saw Mr. Ed Harris, Mrs. Minerva Sloss, Mrs. Winston. The list goes over and over. The telephone number here is 478-2103, and I do hope that some of the speakers that were there this morning will share some of their experiences with us. It was certainly Melvin Porter's day. Melvin Porter's day. And it will continue as people are now on telephones calling their friends, asking them to support E. Melvin Porter. But tonight, the friends of E. Melvin Porter will support a reception from 6 to 9 at Elman's Uptown. And the donations are $3, and they are asking you to be sure and be there. The question is, will you be there? In the meantime, the governor of Kentucky has appointed Mitchell H. Payne of Louisville as commissioner of the Department for Administration in the State Finance and Administration Cabinet. Mitchell Payne had been deeply involved in civil rights, and certainly he was honored. Among those that have been involved, and I would like to tell the public that every person that's ever been involved in civil rights were in that line this morning or behind Senator E. Melvin Porter. I saw Mr. Jimmy Stewart, who soon will be honored because he will be placed in the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. Yes, they were all there, Mrs. Morrison, Mrs. Ira Holmes, every person that I know of that had been involved in civil rights were on the battlefield today for Senator E. Melvin Porter. And when I say involved, there are many ways that people have been involved. These civil rights leaders expressed their desire and their dreams to continue fighting segregation, and they believe that that can be made possible with the continuation of Senator E. Melvin Porter on the battleground. The telephone number is 478-2103. I'm especially interested in those of you that spoke this morning, or those of you that participated in the parade. I would like to get your reaction. It was the longest parade. I counted the cars. There were some 150 cars that were reported in the parade this morning for Senator E. Melvin Porter. There were many people that were not in the parade when it started, but then they said, if this is for Senator E. Melvin Porter, I want to be a part of it. Many people spoke that they didn't realize what was happening. They were thinking that everybody was going to vote for Senator E. Melvin Porter, and incidentally, the black community before largely voted for Senator E. Melvin Porter. But there were people that say that we will be there on Tuesday. And Tuesday will be a big day in Oklahoma, because on Tuesday, Oklahoma will select its Democratic nominee for governor of the state of Oklahoma, and also its lieutenant governor. And one lieutenant governor that we cannot vote for is the candidate Mitchell, because those of you, I would like to refresh your memory, she voted to get rid of Langston University. And when you touch Langston University, you touch our hearts. Shelley, what's cooking today? Tell me what's cooking. Tell me what's going on. And here's Shelley with the sports report.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Shelley Marie Luper Wilson, your favorite sports reporter. And the football scores are: John Marshall defeated Northeast 42-14. Altus over Southeast 20-7. Choctaw beat UConn 20-13. Crooked Oak defeated Hinton 27-24. Midwest City was defeated by Edmond 28-18. El Reno over Kingfisher 7-3. Enid defeated Norman 15-14. Harrell beat St. Mary 20-0. Carl Albert was defeated by Lawton Mack 16-14. McGinnis over Cassidy 48-12. Putnam West over Putnam City 20-7. Stillwater beat Guthrie 21-20. The Generals from Grant defeated the Knights of Northwest Classen 20-14. The Falcons slipped by Trojans in the Soul Bowl. The Millwood Falcons got 3 touchdowns from James Carpenter to win the 11th Soul Bowl from Douglas 25-14 Friday night at M.F. Miller Stadium. The deciding point on the game came in the third quarter. Douglas had just gone ahead 14-7 on a 30-yard runoff. The option by quarterback Martinus McConnell held Millwood to 3 plays and a punt and appeared to be gaining momentum. Millwood wasted little time in scoring. Carpenter took a perfectly timed pitch from quarterback Nathan Robinson and darted 12 yards around the left end for the score. Just as quickly as Douglas had appeared to have the momentum, Millwood took it away. Douglas was led by Ozell Littleton with 58 yards on 13 carries. McConnell added 52 yards on 11 attempts. The Trojans completed 3 of 10 passes for 59 yards. White said, "They had some people who ran well and they guessed the right defenses on some key plays. Coach Robinson had them well prepared for us." And that was brought to you by Merlin Hildred. Merlin sells home insurance, life insurance, and car insurance. You can contact Merlin by calling 751-8435 or 842-5232.
Thank you, Marilyn. You can save money, gasoline. Marilyn, I'm sorry, Shelley. I was thinking about Marilyn, and I called Shelley's name. Well, Shelley, would you excuse me, please? I guess I will continue to apologize. Would you excuse me, please?
Yes.
Will you tell me what's happening down at Burger Brothers?
At Burger Brothers, the special of the day is 3-liter Coke, 7-Up, or Dr. Pepper, $1.09. Lean pork steak, $1.48 a pound. Family pack mixed fries, 44 cents a pound.
Oh, certainly. I would like to go to Burger Brothers because you can buy. How much is your pork steaks today at Burger Brothers?
$1.48 a pound.
Now, Burger Brothers is located at 412 South Harvey, and it has what is known as everyday low prices at Burger Brothers Grocery and Meats. You may save money, gasoline, and time at Enterprise Square Place. Oh, what a deal. You'll be glad you did. 4901 North Martin Luther King Avenue. That's the place, and it's called Enterprise Square Place. There you have a tag agency. You can pay your utility bills, and they have a bona fide United States Post Office. Sherry's Cleaners also located there, a laundromat and a laundry, all at Enterprise Square Place. Now, senior citizens on Monday and Thursday from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m., they will pick you up and take you to the laundry, and you can do your own laundry. 427-9302. Now, those of you that really want to really be on the ball and get your license tag, go to somewhere. You won't have to pay no parking fee. All you will have to do is to go to 4701 North Martin Luther King Avenue. The Watkins Stevens Skyview Convalescent Nursing Home is a clean home, and it's a modern home for the sick and the aged. They have 24 hours nursing service. Mrs. Betty R. Lynch is the administrator. You can be assured that your family will have hot food because they have a hot food cart for keeping the food warm. Today, we would once again like to continue to talk about that parade with over 150 cars driving in honor of Senator E. Melvin Porter. But today, we would also like for you to know that Mr. George Keys is on the line, and I've got to get with him. Mr. George Keys is on line 4, and I've got to get with Mr. Keys. The Haywood Hills Carpet is located at 1931 Northeast 23rd Street. It's located in the heart of the northeast side of Oklahoma City, and if you really want to get some carpet, all you have to do is call Haywood at 427-5411. Sir, County Assessor?
Mrs. Luper?
Yes.
This is George Keys, Oklahoma County Assessor.
Yes, you are the County Assessor, and you won that primary. Did you win the primary? What did you win?
We won the primary real big. The voters gave us a tremendous vote. We won 2-1.
Well, you certainly deserve it. And I know you want to thank all of those loyal listeners of the Clara Luper radio show for going out to the poll in large number voting for you.
Yes, that's the reason I called. I wanted to thank all the voters for such a tremendous vote that they gave me on Election Day. I really appreciate it a lot.
Well, I know you appreciate it, but we are in a struggle. We've just left a parade, over 150 cars, started at Senator Porter's office and went to the state capitol. How do you feel about that election?
Well, you know, Mr. Luper, I've been so busy in mine, I hadn't had that much time to get involved in some of those other races. I know they're having a heated race there in that Senate race.
Well, you're right. It's going to be heated, but we are working for Senator Porter.
I talked to the senator the other day, and he told me that he thought he was going to pull it out and going to win it.
Well, he's going to pull it out, and he's going to win it, and we certainly thank you for just thinking of us, okay?
Appreciate the opportunity that we have here to talk to your listeners, and I really appreciate the vote that they gave me. And I hope that they'll continue to have confidence in me, and in the November election that they'll turn out and vote for me again.
I'm sure they will, Mr. Keys, and thank you so very kindly for calling.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye-bye. Yes, this portion of our program is being brought to you by McPherson's Prescription Shop. You may call 427-3092. McPherson's open 7 days a week and will accept all doctor's prescriptions. There's a 10% discount for all citizens. The telephone number is 427-3092. The store hours are weekdays 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Sundays 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's at Northeast 26th and Martin Luther King Avenue. Those of you that are going down to Burger Brothers, remember they have those family pack mixers today, and they have fries for 44 cents a pound. Now, if you really want to do something, you go down and get some good old fries. The M&W Welding Company is located at 2601 Northeast 23rd Street, and they will put those burglar bars on your windows. You may call 424-1482. Well, one thing about that parade this morning, I saw Mr. George Singer in that parade, representing the Economy Bingo House, formerly the House of Bingo, 3613 North Everett Street here in Oklahoma City. Now, he's going to be opening an Economy Bingo House. You can play 30 games for $10. You can spin little, but you can win large. The Economy Bingo House, and don't you forget it. I wondered how Senator E. Melvin Porter felt today. Oh, it's wonderful. I know I often tell my radio audience and my friends, give me my flowers while I live. Because when I die, I don't need any flowers. All I need is a good grave to be buried in. Senator Porter, how did you feel on your big day?
Oh, I just felt super, Mrs. Luper. It was just unbelievable. I felt very proud. I felt very humble. I felt very gratified that people turned out the way they did.
Attorney Barber, you are the chairperson of Porter's Drive. How did you feel today?
Ms. Luper, I think the people have already sent a message that we're not going to allow outsiders to dictate who our next senator is going to be. I think the people have sent a message that we are very happy with Senator E. Melvin Porter's service, and we're going to keep him there.
Well, certainly I saw Dr. A.L. Dowell, our optometrist, located at 934 Northeast 8th Street. His telephone number is 2350536. 2350536. I saw him today in that large audience along with Reverend W.B. Parker and others. Senator Porter, I know that today was your day. I told the audience that you had on white pants. You had on a yellow shirt which says, remember Senator, I remember Senator Porter. And certainly I'm sure you do because you are Senator Porter.
Well, yes, Mrs. Luper, and I'll tell you the comments that were made from young people, some who created poems of their own, the comments made from the lady that was crippled in a wheelchair, the comments made by the ministers and by Dr. Dial and Cecil Williams and Commissioner Shirley Darrell and Mrs. Morrison and just so many people. I just can't express my appreciation. And what really makes me feel good, Mrs. Luper, is the fact that the ministers of this city, the spiritual leaders of our city, have given so much support in this campaign. They've responded in a way that I've never seen a response before. And some people ask me, why are you going to the church to have your election watch? And I want to answer that. Everything that black people in this country have ever done and all the struggles they've been involved in, it's been the church. It was the church doing slavery. It was the church doing all of the integration movement. It was the church where we formed and met and organized the NAACP. And it's been the church that led the civil rights movement of the 50s and the 60s. It was the church's involvement in the sanitation strike of the 70s. And it's the church today, ladies and gentlemen, that has held us together, kept us strong, and so I don't make any apology or have any regrets over the fact that we're meeting at the church.
What church, Senator Porter?
The Church of the Living God at 555 East Wilshire. That's Bishop Ponda's church. He's a bishop there, and that's where we will gather to get our returns and celebrate.
This is the Clara Luper radio show, and I'm still talking about a parade that was held in Oklahoma City. Among those that spoke today were Commissioner Shirley Darrell, Bishop Punda, Marilyn Hildred, Reverend W.B. Parker, Dr. A.L. Dow, Luna Tay Patterson, Mrs. Morrison, Reverend John Reed, Mrs. Elkins, Dr. Freddie Cudjoe, Attorney Louis Barber, and Cecil Williams. It was really impressive as Mr. Isaac Kimbrough, seeing Senator Porter approach and started singing, "When the Saints Go Marching In." He did it with that beautiful baritone voice, and people yelled, "Go Porter, Porter, go Porter, go Porter." It's a scene that will always be fresh in our memories, and those of you that were not there, you certainly missed an opportunity. I saw Mrs. Almond, I saw Dorothy Stewart, yes, I saw all of you there celebrating a great victory. Reverend W.B. Parker pointed out that this is an hour that we must go to the polls in large numbers and vote for Senator E. Melvin Porter. Dr. A.L. Dow cried out, "It's an emergency." He laid out a pattern by which people must go by. He stated they must go to the polls in large numbers and vote, vote, vote. Mrs. Elkins, sitting there in a wheelchair, cried out to the crowd and said, "This is the first time I've ever spoken in public, but I want all of you to get out and vote for Senator E. Melvin Porter because he cares for those of us that are handicapped." The crowd went wild as Dr. Freddie Cudjoe stated, "I looked over things. I know where I'm going. I know what this community needs, and this community needs Senator E. Melvin Porter, and that's why I'm supporting him." Dr. Cudjoe is expected to be on my show either on this show or at 5:15. Yes, Cecil L. Williams spoke. He told his experiences with the two big papers in Oklahoma City, and he stated that he won, and he's sure that Senator E. Melvin Porter will be the winner. Mrs. Shirley Darrell spoke, our Commissioner Shirley Darrell, and Shirley Darrell stated that we were going to victory. This community is going to victory. Senator Porter, you brought tears to people's eyes as you stood up there. The sun beamed down on you, and as your suntan shone very vividly. And you brought tears to people's eyes as you thanked the people. And I would like to share with my radio audience what you say today on the Capitol steps.
Well, Mrs. Luper, I said that I felt extremely grateful for the reception they gave me. I felt very humble. I felt very proud. And I felt, and I've always felt, that this community has given me much more than I could give back to them. And public trust has always been in my book a very honored and sacred responsibility. The loyalty to this community, the fight to make sure that we get a piece of the pie, that we're involved and included. I guess it's sort of like the triumph of high achievement when with each gain that you make. And then I told them that I felt that when this was over, that friend and foe, my opponent and her followers, that we needed to bind the wounds and bring our community together in love, not in bitterness or division, not in arrogance of victory or bitterness of defeat. We've got to come together because we've got a common enemy to fight that's bigger than Vicky or Melvin Porter. And we can't fight that common enemy divided with factions and friction. We've got to fight it by joining ourselves together and fighting for a common cause. If we don't do that, then we have no victory. And so it was with those comments that and the very gratifying experience of people who joined us that caused me to just say and to feel that, and to know, Mrs. Luper, to know that this community has given me much more in spirit, in uplift, in motivation than I could ever in return give to them. And for that, I thank them for 22 years of their confidence and their trust. I thank them for 6 years of permitting me to be involved with you and the youth council members in bringing about social change in this country and in our state and our city. It's a privilege to go to jail. It was a privilege to lay down on floors and block the ingress and egress, to defy the law because of an unjust system. It's a privilege to be an American where you can do this without any fear of anybody killing you or isolating you or shipping you to some section of the country where you can't be heard or seen. And that's the strength of our country. And it was a privilege for me to see white people join in with us. And there are many good people in this city and in this state and this country who by no choice of their own might be of a different color, but who believe in equality and fair play.
But Senator Porter, the people this morning felt that they owed you so much. And those people spoke out. They applauded you. Mrs. Esther Swain spoke out in those certain terms as the audience went wild. She told them how you had fought to save Langston University. She told them that they must go to the poll, and she called you our senator. But Senator Porter, I have offered Vicki Miles the opportunity to advertise not only on the Clara Luper radio show, but on KBYE. I've explained to her the cost of time on this show, but she has never advertised. She went to the white television media. About how much are those ads costing Vicki?
Well, Mrs. Luke, television is very expensive, and it becomes more expensive when you advertise during the prime time. That's the time period of 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock in the morning. Then it gets extremely expensive in the afternoon. And my opponent says that she believes in economic development. To have economic development in the black community, those of us who are black, and believe in economic development must support the black business person. You are in business. And
I want to know how much those ads are costing. And
thousands of dollars, Mrs.
okay,
Luper.
here's Attorney Barber. How much are the ads costing on television?
Miss Luper, I don't have the exact figures. Each station have their own rates. And I can tell you this, that in prime time on the, say for instance, the Johnny Carson show, these ads will go up to as much as $2,200 to $4,500 for 30 seconds. The prime time that she has used, she has paid a minimum of $600 when she has used prime time for 30 seconds.
All right, I know she has not advertised on the Clara Luper radio show, and this is a paid political announcement, and I would like for people to advertise. It doesn't make any difference whether or not I'm not supporting you or anything. The difference is that you're showing an interest in minority business. As I look at the clock on the wall, I know I'm going to have to say goodbye to you for right now, but I'll be back with you this evening at 5:15 with a show that you will never forget. So many of you have called me and asked me what you could do for Senator E. Melvin Porter. You can go out on Tuesday and vote for the senator. But you must do more than that. You must now call, according to a well-known leader today who cried out and asked us to call and be responsible for getting 20 people to the polls. Will you join us? Will you join the people that are supporting Senator E. Melvin Porter? We would like for you to call 20 people. Now, when you go to the polls to vote, we don't want you to vote in a hurry. Take your time. Be sure you vote capital P-O-R-T-E-R. As I look at the clock on the wall, I know it's time for Clara Luper to say goodbye, but it's really hello to you. And I would like to thank my students all over this state for your support. I would like to thank those of you that are saying to everybody, I don't care what nobody else going to do. I'm going to stay with my senator because my senator stayed with me. The Friends of E. Melvin Porter is sponsoring a big reception at Elmo's this evening, and be sure and go there from 6 to 9. This is Clara Luper saying, I'll see you at 5:15 p.m. 5:15.
Gold. There's nothing quite like the sound of a grand piano. There's nothing quite like the looks of a grand hotel either. I'm referring, of course, to the Doubletree Hotel at Warren Place. It is quite simply magnificent. In fact, there's an entire floor reserved exclusively for those desiring concierge service. 2 wonderful restaurants that remind you how good food can be. What about the lounge, you ask? Well, it's called Encounters, and I think you'll find the name speaks for itself. So, what are you waiting for? Make a little music at the Doubletree Hotel at Warren Place. Go on, you've earned it.
Enjoy the pleasures of a Tulsa Doubletree weekend for just $44 Friday and Saturday nights. $44, that's very little money for so much Doubletree.
You're listening to KBYE in Oklahoma City, your Christian radio, 890 AM.